Ahoy! New World is getting a new update today, which starts the Rabbit's Revenge event, and it comes with some other cool changes as well, so let's talk about them. So the Rabbit's Revenge event has been changed a little bit. On one hand, there is some explosions happening from the bunnies now, so you have to be a bit more careful. And on the other hand, you are now guaranteed to get certain rewards. I already talked about this. You get one of the rewards, the mask at I think 200 kills guaranteed, but beforehand you already have a drop chance, and the chest at 400 kills. There were a few quests that couldn't be completed properly, one of them being Weaver's Weave, as well as the Curse of Cardoon. Those should be fixed now. Same thing with the quest Unexpected Prisoner, and then there was also a fix to the free camera. There are a few fixes to the Forge expedition. One issue was that sometimes you couldn't defeat the final boss. I guess many players couldn't defeat it without a bug already, but there was a bug for that as well. But more importantly and more commonly, sometimes the volcanic eruptions would hit players well outside of their visual radius, which made no sense. It was super frustrating because you were kind of feeling like you were standing in the wrong place, but there was nothing around you. It's just, am I tripping? What's going on? Why am I getting hit? So it was actually a bug and it's getting fixed. Also, the repeatable quest, a Toymaker's request, which gives you a gypsum orb for completing the expedition, is fixed. Unfortunate that it only comes now after the mutation is gone. Again, if you want the mutation to come back sooner, I posted on the forums about it. Feel free to add your voice there. I will link that down below if you want to have the mutation for Forge for the entire season's duration, or just for a longer time at least. There's an interesting change here saying some items received unintended attribute perks in the previous update. Affected items will be rerolled as a part of this change. Some may even become legendary. So some of these items were really weird. I saw some of them and had basically double perks. So they had 60 attribute points on a weapon instead of the expected 30. So that will no longer be the case. Those will be fixed, but instead apparently some will be legendary. So we'll see what items those actually turn into. They removed several potential rewards from the Season's Furniture gift chest loot pool, which you can get from the Season Pass free track. This one could actually contain some very rare furniture, including the Goldfish, which is on some servers going for over $1 million. So yeah, if you got that from those chests, congratulations. That will not be possible anymore, I'm assuming. I'm assuming it's going to be the very rare ones that they're taking out. So if you got lucky, you now have a very valuable item that will not drop further in value because more people have the chance to get it, because you can't get it anymore. Or you can only get it from Scale again. They fixed an issue that prevented juniper bags from dropping, though I'm not quite sure how that's going to work with the event now happening, which means we're getting our gypsum from the rabbits anyways. So are we getting both at the same time? Does it just mean that juniper bags will work again when they're back? I don't know, but either way, it's fixed. They fixed a naming issue with the Empyrean Gauntlets, and they fixed an issue that caused refining resources to not properly count the full amount. The Ice Gauntlet gets a combat fix to Ice Pylon, which could get stuck on cooldown, but it also gets a fix for a specific Ice Gauntlet. Cold Stone is a weapon I talked about in the past because I thought it was really funny. Used to have Sturdy, and that was turned into Thwarting Counter because they wanted to remove illegal perks from certain Ice Gauntlets, or perks that didn't work. But in doing so, they actually added another illegal perk to the Ice Gauntlet because Thwarting Counter is not supposed to be an Ice Gauntlet either. So now they're reverting it back to Sturdy, meaning this is the only Ice Gauntlet in the game that can have Sturdy. The fact that they're not changing it to something else indicates that they actually want it to have Sturdy as well, which is very, very interesting to me. I have been farming this for a while and I haven't been able to get Coldstone yet. But I want to try and see if Sturdy on Coldstone actually works, because that can make it a very interesting tank Ice Gauntlet, now that you can actually taunt with an Ice Gauntlet as well. Who knows? Who knows what we can do with this? They fixed an issue that caused the Flame Core Hoarder journey tasks to not properly count each crafted item. This means that if you are crafting 3 of those orbs at the forge at once with the Flame Cores, that will only count as 1 craft for this journey, which means you burned a lot of Flame Cores for nothing basically. So this should be fixed now. I don't know if it'll be retroactively fixed, and those who have used the forge in that way already also get the progression properly now. I hope so. If you haven't done this yet, or maybe your orbs are gone because of this issue, or any other reason that will require you to get Flame Cores, then consider subscribing and clicking the bell, because later today I will show you the best method to farm Flame Cores, and I'll talk about the other method and compare them, so you can decide for yourself how you do it, but you can definitely get a lot of Flame Cores in a relatively short amount of time if you do it right. They also fixed an issue that caused cam skin previews to not appear in the store, and the default new music now plays on the main menu. The other music that was playing before was actually pretty nice as well. I'm not sure what music that was though, maybe that was event related or something, not sure. We have some super fresh news that literally just dropped as well. There are some very significant Void Blade and Orb of Decay buffs in this patch that are not mentioned in the patch notes. First of all, thanks to Roger who linked me this. This is huge for both PvP and PvE. I really like this change. So previously, both the Orb and the Void Blade would apply a 5% rend per hit. However, Roger told me that the rend still worked like the old rend, where it didn't affect your armor like other rends, so effectively it was stronger in most situations at least. But now that is fixed and it's actually affecting armor, but in return it's getting buffed, and the buff is huge. Now it applies a 10% rend per hit. Meaning with a Void Blade you can get up to 30% rend, and with a single orb, if you detonate it, you can get a 20% rend. Now keep in mind that rends as a whole got nerfed somewhat, especially against targets in lighter armors with lower armor values. But a 30% rend is still huge. The only rend that can technically reach higher than that under specific conditions is the perforate on the spear, and normally it'll max out at 30% as well, and that's only under specific conditions again. So this is very cool in my opinion. Even the 20% from the orb will be useful in many situations. I believe that this makes Void Blading in PvE in particular especially more appealing, because it'll give you a very easy way to stack a massive amount of rend, and since the rend cap was changed, you can actually utilize this much better now. Roger told me that there are some bugs with the PvE rend cap at the moment, so we'll have to see if that's actually fixed, but either way, I think just having 30% rend from Void Blade alone is great. On one hand, obviously, if you're speedrunning super fast and you have a healer that DPSs with Void Blade, this is fantastic, but also for non-speedruns, if you just want to run a Void Blade in an expedition, this is great news. Yeah, the Void Blade maybe does a little bit less damage than some other weapons, but if you can apply that much rend to many targets around you most of the time, that will definitely still be effective. And you could pair it, for example, with an Ice Gauntlet as an offhand, so you can still deal some extra DPS through that. There are other weapons that can deal higher rends in total, like the Warhammer or the Spear, especially if you're using Sundering Javelin, but that's something that's not necessarily always used in the first place. And also those are all a fair bit more conditional. You need to use the abilities on the right targets and whatnot, whereas with the Void Blade you can kind of just wildly swing around and apply the rends. And the Void Gauntlet as a whole also comes with other utility for your team, for example through Essence Rupture or through Oblivion, or in rare situations where you need Enter Heal also through Putrefying Scream. Keep in mind that the Void Gauntlet already got massive buffs in the previous patch through the changes to the right tree, now dealing a lot more damage in general, and then 300 con now providing a grid for Void Blade as well. As somebody who of all mage weapons enjoys the Void Gauntlet the most, especially due to the Void Blade, I am really happy to see these changes. I'm really looking forward to what is possible through this now, so yeah, I'm excited. If you want to hear more about the DPS of various weapons, future updates, or the Flame Core farm that I'm going to talk about, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so that you get notified of it. If you'd like to support me further, you can do so on Patreon, like these lovely people. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and thank you for watching. SLOTH, out.